The playoffs are here, and you can predict the action all the way to the finals with FanDuel Predicts. Predict the spread, the total points, and even the game-winning moments that make the playoffs. Sign up and get a $25 bonus with FanDuel Predicts.
Offered by FanDuel Prediction Markets, LLC, a registered futures commission merchant. 18-plus bonus is non-withdrawable and expires 7 days after receipt. Trading derivatives involves significant risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Manage your activity with their consumer protection tools. Restrictions apply. See terms at FanDuel.com/predicts/bonus-offer-terms.
In the squadron, they called him Bullets, but we call him Greg Kelly. Greg Kelly is on the air
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Is that not just stupendously awesome? Wow. Oh, man. Let's all go join the military or something like that. That was so cool. I wish President Trump came out to that song, and then he can leave on YMCA. Proud to be an American. I'm getting a little bit too much of it. I like it. Okay, enough already. You haven't heard that song in, 20 years? And it's every bit as classic, every bit as... Anyway, hello, July 3rd, not quite July 4th, but this is an official holiday. And it's great. 250 years old. I vividly remember 200 years old. I was a little tyke, a little kid, but I remember. I hope I'm around for the 300th. I hope the country's around for the 300th or the 256th. I don't know. I mean, are we going to make it? Yeah, we'll make it. Even though the forces of darkness are alive in America, and they're fighting like crazy to corrupt this country and to turn it into something else. That Mamdani character, did you see the creepy little speech he gave? I mean, he actually even looks like Leonid Brezhnev, the communist. Just, whoa. It's a very interesting moment for me personally. Oh, wait a second. Stop everything. Did you hear about the new addition to WABC Radio? Michael Cohen is going to be on the air. Michael Cohen, President Trump's mutinous, traitorous lawyer? Wow, he's going to have his own show. Well, I hope he's ready for the hazing. You know, we always haze the new hosts, right? Stuff them in a locker for 24 hours, and we put them in the trunk of a car and drive them around for a while. No, we're not going to do any of that stuff. Look, initially I was taken aback. Whoa, who, this guy? But look, if President Trump can forgive this guy, then I can forgive this guy. President Trump has made it quite clear that he believes Michael Cohen was the victim of lawfare. I never really looked at it that way, but now that I think about it, yeah, I can see that. You know, they came after him very, very hard. Michael Cohen apparently had done some bad things with those taxi cab medallions, and everybody was losing their minds about those medallions because they were suddenly, because of Uber, not worth as much. So who knows what they had on him in total. And they said, if you don't start talking about Trump, you're going to jail for 40, 50 years or whatever. And, you know, that's the thing. That's where they get you with your family, right? We're going to take you away from your family. You'll only see him on visiting day in prison. And we're going to take away all your money. And everyone's going to die poor. Or you can talk. Now, what are most people going to do? I would like to say, I'm never going to break. I'm never going to break. But you start thinking about your little babies at home, right? And you start thinking about that. Now, I would start thinking about leaving the country. I'm not saying you got to sing, especially when you're making up the notes. I'm not saying you got to do that. I'm saying you got to think of alternatives, but not everybody can think of those alternatives. You know, I looked at Michael Cohen's book a while back as I was really trying to understand what the hell was going on. And, you know, he was addicted to the life. Park Avenue, the rest, you know, the perks and all that stuff. All that stuff that goes away, that doesn't really matter. He made a decision to protect his family. I think he harmed the country. However, I don't have all the facts. And if President Trump can move past this. Hey, Kevin, you've already seen the new guy, Michael Cohen, walking around the station. What's he all about? What's the? He's not acting all big. He's not acting like he's all that, is he? You know, you say that with a little bit of edge. Yeah, that's what I. Yeah, son of a bitch. I know what you were saying. I know what you were getting at. Yeah. Well, was he wearing? Let me. I know what he was wearing because I've given him dirty looks for the past 6 years. I see him in the neighborhood, and I give him dirty looks, and he gives me. He doesn't really give me a dirty look back. I don't know what the hell. I'm not gonna. Was he wearing a plaid coat, a plaid jacket? It had all kinds of patterns on it, though, right? I don't believe you. I know this guy's always wearing a cheesy jacket like he's selling cars in Indiana at that used car lot from Breaking Away, the movie, where they were very unethical when it came to selling cars. All right. Well, look, again, President Trump has moved past this. And how do I know that President Trump has moved past it? He posted on Truth Social that, he thanked Michael Cohen and called him a victim of lawfare. Michael Cohen himself wrote up a big story about what they did to him. I may look at that in a little bit. I mean, look, these prosecutors are absolute degenerates. They're the worst people in the world. They really are. I know. Okay, I got to say this. Yes, I know that there are 6 good ones, but the rest of them are way drunk with power. They have way too much power, and they speak about themselves as if they're better than everybody else. I'll show you that in a little bit. I have proof. Jack Smith, one of I guess the most treacherous people you'll ever see. Jack Smith is the guy who indicted President Trump twice, right? Bad guy. And I knew it every step of the way. This guy deserves to be in prison, and he just might wind up there. So he thinks the coast is clear, and people like me won't be listening who know the real story. And he goes on the MSNBC show, the MS Now with the other mutineer, Nicole Wallace. Can I say she's a bit of a SLUT? She is. In the worst possible way. Leaves her wife and kids, leaves the kids and her husband to fool around with a boy toy reporter from the New York Times. It's terrible. Almost as bad as when she pretends that she's still friends with Whoopi Goldberg. So here they are, flirting like crazy, as Jack Smith tries to tell fake news, what he was all about when he was indicting President Trump. And there's so many discrepancies and overt lies and the self-righteous indignation as if they're special. Public service. They're serving themselves. Nobody is purely altruistic. You can't be. It's almost impossible for a human being to be so. All right, Jack Smith on that show with Nicole Wallace. I find it fascinating. Let me know if you think so as well. Let's go. Start it with the first one there, Kevin. Stop! This is the trickery right there. This is the deception. This is the dishonesty right off the bat. A little trick of the trade that they've been pulling for a long time. Well, I worked for Republican presidents and Democrat presidents. Right up until you stick a shiv in President Trump's back. This is a trick. First of all, he never met President Trump. Okay? These people come. Presidents come and go. That's the problem. The deep state remains. I remember back when I was a little bit left, and 20 years ago, I leaned left. I did the same thing. I was trying to stick it to President Bush at the time, right? But to bolster my credibility as I was doing it, and I wrote a pretty big op-ed in the New York Times. I mentioned just what he mentioned. I served in the military in both Republican and Democrat administrations, and technically, that's true. I went to boot camp when Ronald Reagan was president. I was in flight school when George H.W. Bush was president, and I was in my squadron when Bill Clinton was president. See, I'm such a bipartisan person, so you have to take me at my word when I tell you I have no interest in politics. All right? You think you can get that one by me, Jack? All right, there's the music. We got to think of some good hijinks for Michael Cohen. I don't know. Maybe pretend we're the FBI and we're arresting him again. Something like that. All right. Well, we wish him luck and we welcome him here. If President Trump can forgive him, so can I. And so can you. We'll be right back.
Greg Kelly.
Let's go, Brandon.
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Greg Kelly
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
All right. Attention. I have a new favorite genre of music, and it's not this. All right? I like yacht rock. Yacht rock. Have you heard this thing? Yacht rock when it's mixed by DJs. That's what I like. I don't like any of this classic rock anymore. I mean, I did. It's part of who I am. Well, all right. Now, I do like this song, but I will... No, this is not yacht rock. Yacht rock is mixtapes and stuff. Now, my new favorite DJ is a guy named Party Pupils. And Pupils and his friends, they take these songs and they update them with techno and, electro and stuff like that. And it makes it much more dancey. Dancey, as Pink might say. Is it true? I mean, I thought this was a punk. Is this a joke that Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift are really getting married at Madison Square Garden? I have to imagine that this is a joke. They're not really going to get married there. I mean, number one, Madison Square Garden is a bit of a dump. That place is, when were they, 1968 or something like that? It's been around forever. I don't think they've had one refurbishment. It's everything in it is brown. The outside is brown. The inside is brown, occasionally beige. I mean, it doesn't really matter when you're going to a basketball game. You don't really care. But you ever look up at the roof? I mean, they haven't even gone up. They should clean up those banners that are hanging there. That place is, I mean, they should go out to the new Coliseum in Nassau, right? They updated that place. I think it's ridiculous. I don't think they're really getting married. And if they are getting married, I'll tell you this, it's a sham marriage, all right? That they're doing it for celebrity purposes. This MSG wedding just confirms that. Number one, I can tell by the body language two things. Travis Kelce, whatever his name, is dumb. He's a dummy, and I do not like him. And number two, he is not into her. He is definitely not into her. He always has the same expression of smile on his face. It's just one. And that indicates to me that it's fake. Actually, I know it's fake. We could have the FBI profilers come here and they'll confirm it to us. She is definitely more into him. But I think, her brand is getting dumped by these guys. And something's going to happen. There's going to be a blow up at the wedding. She's going to walk out or something weird's going to happen. But it's going to be on purpose. Travis Kelce and Taylor. What else about that? He's a little bit left. I mean, who knows if he's really left, but, the NFL, they've gone left. What else about this that I don't like? I guess that's it. Knock yourselves out. You know what? Here's something else, though. If you're genuine friends with these people, I mean, how many friends does one person have, right? You don't have 30,000 friends. So they're going to feel, the real friends are going to feel marginalized. And wasn't this thing just thrown on at the last minute? So, people like to do their own thing often on 4th of July weekend. They don't want to have to drop in everything and go to this. And something else about Travis, he dresses like a total clown. I mean, literally a clown. Everything he wears is a clown suit. It's cheesy. Yeah. Kevin, William, Vincent, you guys have any thoughts on this? I don't think I'm out of line at all. I think this is, to the extent that people are thinking about it, they resent it. Don't you agree? I remember the Sun Young Moon people. That's the Sun Young Moon, the Moonies. It was a religious cult. And back in the 80s, something like that, they married like 5,000 couples. And the wild part was they met each other like 2 minutes before the wedding. This Sun Young Moon, if that was his name, was quite the charismatic, persuasive type, as these cult leaders tend to be. Remember Jim Jones? He got everybody to drink the poison. So whatever you do, don't start hanging around. You want Don't start hanging around that stuff. I see a lot of people dabbling in the, ooh, I'm Buddhist. Ooh, the universe is telling me something. No. That's a bunch of crap. Stick with the Bible. Stick with what you grew up with, okay? And get back into it, and then you will find out that it's true, and all these other things are lies. No, who was the other celebrity who got married there? Sorry about that. I have this tendency. It's called ADD. It's called a psychological tic. What was the thing that you were going to say? Are you sure that wasn't fake? I think it was fake, just like the wrestling is fake. Who did Randy Savage get married to? Jessica Hahn or somebody like that? Look, it's all spectacle. I guess it's all kind of fun. My daughters actually are talking about Taylor Swift. I don't know. I don't play any of that junk at home, but they find out about these things. And, I went to the school, and they go to a great school, a really great school. And I'm like, are you guys teaching this stuff? And they say, no. And where they get it from are the other kids who have older siblings. So the older siblings, sing it at home, show the kids TikTok videos. So that's how it has entered my home, kind of like a virus, and because I don't care for that. One time, I'll tell you about it later. I knew somebody that Taylor Swift liked a lot, and he wasn't into it, and it became a whole thing. And Taylor and I actually kind of went back and forth on Twitter. It's a true story. It happened about a decade ago. And when I look back at it, it's really something. A decade ago, she wasn't nearly as famous as she was now. She came on the Good Day New York show. No, it was a guy named Corey, Cameron and Corey. She was into Corey, and I announced that I don't want her coming over because we were going to hang out one weekend, the guys, and she was making noise about coming over, and I was not going to have it. I was not going to have it. We had plans. And we were going to go to the mall, and she wanted to come, and it was bad. It was bad. It's kind of embarrassing for her. All right. What is the other thing I wanted to do here? I think I know the Jack Smith thing. It's a personal crusade of mine, and it should be a national crusade. This is a guy who arrested President Trump 3 times, and he gets to run around and go to law schools and talk about how, truth to power and that kind of crap. No, this is corruption. It's fascinating how these people who weren't elected, he's a guy with a job, and somehow he fashions himself to be superior to those people who bothered to ask the people for permission for the power, right? Say what you will about politics and politicians. We vote for them. You got to stop saying, oh, we can't have any politics. This decision is political. That means we were involved in it. That means the person who made the decision gave a crap about what the people think. That's important, and that's beautiful. And it's so long, and I know people who agree with me who still almost muscle memory decry politics as if it's somehow a negative. Can we go back to where we left off with the Jack Smith and his, I think, wannabe girlfriend, Nicole Wallace? Here's something else about Jack. His wife made a movie with Michelle Obama, literally gave money to Michelle Obama. They hired this guy for a reason, right? Because he's got a screw loose, and they knew he would do it. They knew he would do their bidding. All right, go back to that if you don't mind, please. Not me. Stop. I mean, what the hell? Wait, we're supposed to celebrate people. We don't know who they are. We don't know how they operate. And to the extent we do know how they operate, represented by this guy, it's corrupt. It's corrupt. I know what the DOJ did and the FBI did to the January 6ers, pretending that was the worst, pretending that was 9/11 and hassling people who did not have the means, did not have the connections of a Jim Comey to navigate that treacherous system. I love our Constitution. I love our system of government on paper. I love our Constitution. But the way it's been warped, the Department of Justice is part of the executive branch. And this is something that they have, it's the people's lawyer. It's the people's lawyer. No, it's the people's president. And you guys work for him. And they have so effectively kind of shrouded that, and to make them seem like, you can criticize President Trump to the cows come home. I can criticize Chuck Schumer or Nancy Pelosi, right? But the moment I talk about the men and women of the Justice Department, the men and women of the FBI, both sides agree, oh, you can't do that. Why not? Why is that exactly? In fact, they're more criticizable because we don't have an effective way to get them the hell out. Keep it up if you don't mind. Wow. All right. So we know what we're doing this July 4th. We're going to sit around celebrating them. Okay. What did they say? They're working under tremendous pressure. You want to know who's working under tremendous pressure? Kevin and Vinny back there. You guys are like never not here. I appreciate that. Seriously, how does it feel when a guy like this bitches and moans about, not being praised enough, or we should be celebrating him? We should be celebrating him and his friends on July 4th. Not George Washington, not Abe Lincoln, not the moon landing, but this guy and his cronies who go around trying to get people in trouble. I hope you're as offended by that as I am. None of you dumbasses knows. None of you dumbasses knows. All right. It is time to take a quick break. If you feel like it, give me a call. 800-848-9222. 800-848-9222. This is still that special time of year, kind of like Christmas, New Year's. A little bit vague as to exactly what day it is and what you're supposed to do. It's kind of a luxurious period of time. And it's a good time to take stock about the first half of the year because we're one half done with 2026. One half. We've got 6 months left. You can do anything in 6 months. You can do anything in 6 months. You could go from fatty to ripped. All right? I'm halfway there. I'm pudgy, no longer fatty, pudgy, on my way to ripped. And I think I'm going to be able to do it by New Year's. And maybe even Halloween. 800-848-9222. Be right back.
Greg Kelly
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
So cool. It would even, I would even go on a yacht if this were the music playing. I like boats maybe once or twice a year. That's it. I can't be on a yacht. You're trapped on those things. You're trapped. Also, if I were very, very rich, the last thing I would want is a great big boat. Because when you have a great big boat, now, number one, if you're very, very rich, a lot of guys, they marry, somebody very, very hot, right? Sometimes they marry somebody very, very young. I wouldn't do that, but even in my circumstance, I don't want a bunch of younger guys hanging around, the deckhand, the boatsmate, and all that stuff, the crew. And Warren Buffett talked about this. When you're rich, it largely brings problems if you're not careful. And one of the big problems he talks about is staff, right? If you get a great big house, you need a great big staff to take care of it. If you got a boat, you need a great big staff to take care of it. There are a lot of things you can learn from listening to Warren Buffett. Hey, here's something else. Don't trade stocks. Invest in them. Buy them and then keep them. This day trading stuff is a way to, unless you're one of like the 0.1 of 1% and you're really, really super duper smart and you're totally experienced, maybe. But the rest of us just got to buy, hopefully low, and just keep it for a million years, and then we'll be better off. What else did he say? Oh, yeah, because he lives in an ordinary ranch-style house in Omaha. And some people say, oh, that's just a front. I don't think it is. That's where he lives. He drives a regular car. I think it's like a 2002 Cadillac. And what else does he? He says, the thing about being rich, when I fly much more comfortably than you do. Okay? That's it. Because the people of today, regular people, middle class, lower middle class, poor people. You know, if you got air conditioner and a flat screen TV, you got more than kings and queens had. You know, in 1950, can you imagine hanging around Buckingham Palace? After about 20 minutes, it's boring, you know, and then it's like, what's on TV and what are we going to do now? And it's hot in here. We have so much. And this little phone doodad, you'll notice for the first time, I think ever, you have very rich people and very poor people doing exactly the same thing. Scrolling, doom scrolling, looking at content. There's going to be a great kind of equalization, I think, going forward. There's going to be, and if you think AI is going to put people out of business, it's going to put some people out of business, but you have to be very good to tell AI when it's wrong, and you have to be confident because AI gets it wrong almost as much as it gets it right. And that's something else. And the people using AI are actually being made better because it screws up so much. That's I have personally found it. And I'm doing things that I've never even conceived before because this dumb thing is always making mistakes. It's very smart, but it's also very dumb. Who the hell is Mamdani? He made a speech on the 4th of July. He made a speech on the 4th of July, of course, that was anti-American. Of course, what else would we expect? And he had these people behind him in the weirdest way. Can we have a little bit of that? You got the Mamdani speech? Stop. Who the hell is he talking about? What America is this? The powerful don't want liberty for anybody. You know who one of the most powerful men is in America right now? John Catsimatidis. This man is red, white, and blue. Truth, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. He's Captain America. He embodies it. He came here with nothing. His father was working 7 days a week as a waiter. And the weekends, for his time off, he'd go to Queens and wait on a restaurant there. During the week, he was at the restaurant on 42nd and Lexington. John was born with and you could do anything in this country, anything. Liberty. We all want liberty. Just, what's that, the straw man argument? You create this mythical figure, pretend he exists, and then try to gain power for yourself by taking that fake mythical figure down. Very oddball, very un-American. All right, I will proceed to ignore him. Best to ignore him. Happy 4th of July. 800-848-9222. 800-848-9222.
Thanks for listening to The Greg Kelly Show. You can hear The Greg Kelly Show weekdays at 12:15 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
The Marine Toys for Tots foster care program is bringing hope to children who need it most. Every 2 minutes, a child enters foster care, often with only a small bag of belongings. More than 400,000 children face trauma and uncertainty, many before age 8. This May, during Foster Care Awareness Month, Toys for Tots is creating Room for Joy. In 2025, nearly 375,000 children received comfort through toys, books, and essentials, reminding them they are not alone. Donate now and change a child's life.